The first step working with MongoDB would be installing MongoDB. Now, installing MongoDB is very simple. You just need to browse at mongodb.org and download MongoDB. Then, when the download completes, you will find that you have a file, a new file. Its name is MongoDB, and it's end with TGS, which means that this is something you can extract, and when you extract it you get this folder. I chose to place that folder in the applications folder, so it would be simpler for me to maintain the applications I install. And yeah, this is the folder. Now, in order to start using MongoDB, you need to create a folder. Its name should be data, and within that folder, and you must place it in your root folder, root directory, and inside data you should create the folder db. If you fail to create these folders when you work with MongoDB, then when you try to execute the server of the MongoDB you have just installed, it will fail. So I've already created the required folder, the folder db within the folder data within the root folder. So I can move into the bin folder inside my Mongo installation, and here I can find MongoD utility. And this utility, if you execute it, then you will get the server of the MongoDB database up and running. So let's try to execute it. MongoD. And as you can see, I got exception, unable to create, open, blah blah blah. Let's solve this permission problem using sudo. And here it is, we have the server of MongoDB up and running. Now let's create another terminal, and let's go over here and select new window, and let's move to the folder where I installed MongoDB, the bin folder, where I can find the utility Mongo. Executing Mongo will get me a shell, a prompt, a command line through which I can interact with the server of MongoDB database that is currently up and running. For example, if I type db, I get the name of the current database. I already worked a bit with this test database, and already created the collection coupons with two documents, these two. I have on my computer the XAMPP as well as MAMP. Let's go for XAMPP. There are two steps we should complete in order to be able to use the Mongo extension, which is the driver that allows us to write code in PHP running on our server and communicate with the server of the MongoDB database. The first step would be creating the extension itself. It's a file with an extension DLL or SO, depends on the operation system. In my case, I'm using Mac, so the extension should be two letters SO, and that file should be placed together with all other extensions in the PHP execution environment I'm using. This is the first step. The second step is updating php.ini. You can see the summary for these two steps if you browse at php.net, and over here you can see the instructions. First, for getting the mongo.so file and then placing it together with all other extensions, and the second thing is just updating the php.ini files, making sure we have this line. Similar steps when using Windows, just that instead of using a file with the SO extension, we have a file with the DLL extension, and we should as well update the php.ini file, adding a line as this one, so the extension will be available. Okay, so if I'm using the terminal, I can move to the bin folder of the XAMPP installation, where I can find utilities, including those relevant for PHP, such as PHP, PHPIs, PHP unit, and for now what we care about is the PECL we can use in order to get the Mongo extension. So getting back to the tutorial we have on php.net, as you can see, calling PECL together with the command install and specifying the name of the extension. This is, and of course, do everything as a super user. This will get us the extension, which is actually the driver that allows code in PHP running on our computer to interact with a MongoDB server. Over here you also have explanation for doing the same stuff a bit different. Instead of using PECL, we can also use a brew. It's another way for installing the extension, but I will go with this instruction. The same instruction that applies for Linux, Unix applies for Mac, an operation system built on top of Linux. If you're using Windows, then things might be even simpler. Let's get back to our case and sudo PECL, or let's say PECL like this. The command is install, and I want to install Mongo, so I write Mongo. I'm currently in the very same folder where you can find the PECL file, a utility that allows us to install extensions. So let's press return. Let's provide the password, and let's see what happens. Do we need the enterprise authentication support? No, we don't. And a bit of patience, and the extension will be on our end. By the way, if you try to do the same, but instead of XAMPP you are using MAMP, you might get into some errors because MAMP doesn't include all source files of PHP. So I chose to use XAMPP instead of MAMP. So as you can see, the installation completed, and now we just need to change php.ini file and add this line. Now the file which is the extension is mongo.so, and as you can see over here, that file should be within the no debug, non-zds, blah 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 folder where all extensions are. It should be within the extensions folder within PHP folder. So let's take a look. So that PHP folder within lib, within XAMPP files. So this is XAMPP files, and here we should find the lib folder, and here we should find, we also have here, if you take a look, a part of the lib folder. We also have PHP folder with some more stuff, but I don't care about this folder. I care about lib folder, where according to the installation there should be PHP and then extensions. So here's PHP, and over here is the extensions, and here is no debug, none, blah 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 blah, and here, as you can see, the mongo.so file. This is the extension. Now, in order to make that extension available, we must update the php.ini file. So let's find it. Well, here we have the etc folder, where we can find lots of folders, lots of files, including the php.ini file, and I will open that file. And here okay, so I usually prefer to see all extensions handled in the same place. I don't enjoy um, having kind of a mess, so I will put it over here. Extension assigned with Mongo, just like that, and saving the file. And it is just about following this instruction, mongo.so. I forgot .so. That's it. Now let's close this text editor. When we install a new extension and update the php.ini file, it is a must to restart the server. So in our case, if I open the control panel for the XAMPP installation, I can see that Apache is running. So let's stop it and let's start again. Let's wait a moment. Okay, it is up and running, and pressing configure, we can see that it works on port 80. In case you have another application working with this port, then you will just need to change the port XAMPP use to work with another port. And now we can give it a try, see that it works. Just let's try browsing at localhost port 80, or we can even avoid specifying it. Yeah, it works. Now let's take a file with a small code in PHP that use the PHP extension, and let's save it in htdocs of XAMPP. mongodemo.php, and now let's give it a try. mongodemo.php, And as you can see, we got in return 2, just as expected. 2 is the number of documents the coupons collection has. Now, since I'm also using MAMP, we can take the mongo.so file, the extension we have just managed to create and place over here in our installation. Here, that file was saved. Here it is. We can just take that file. Let's copy it. I will keep it on my desktop for the moment, and just place it where all other extensions are being saved when working with MAMP. So I will just go to the MAMP folder over here, and over here I can find bin folder where I can find, well, the files are organized a bit different when using MAMP comparing with XAMPP, yet at the same place, at the same as with XAMPP. Also, when using MAMP, we can find that folder where all the extensions are saved. And since I'm using PHP 5.6.8.10, over here within lib, I can find PHP, and here I can find extensions. And here is the folder where the mongo.so file should be saved. So let's just paste it. Let's take it from the desktop. Let's just place it over here. Okay, now once that file was placed over there, the second thing to do is to verify that php.ini is updated. So because I'm using PHP 5.6.10, let's go to php.ini, let's open it with a simple text editor and verify that the extension is equal mongo.so is already here. Okay, so I don't have it, so let's find where all the extensions are saved. It is over here, so let's just add one more line, just as instructed. Over here, when reading about how to install the extension, so as you can see, the instruction is adding extension assigned with mongo.so. So let's get back over here to our text editor. Yeah, we have it. Let's save the file. Let's quit. And now let's open the control panel for MAMP. Let's stop the server, start them again. Okay, now I start the server. And now let's give it a try. Well, I'm using PHP Storm together with MAMP, and here is the code sample I want to run. Now, as you can see, the demo.php is already within MongoDemo folder, and I have the server up and running, so I can just try to browse at localhost. Well, on Mac, the HTTP server that comes with MAMP listens by default to port 8888, and here there is a folder. Its name is mongo.demo, and there we can find the demo.php file. And as you can see, it worked fine. So I actually overcome the problems I had with creating the extension when using MAMP by using XAMPP and taking that file uh, from uh, from the XAMPP installation folder to MAMP. It is actually still PHP, and we are talking about the same version of PHP, so it should work without any problem, just as you could see over here.